Let's dig into it. Also incredibly exciting, these teams have never played one another.
The beauty of the APAC Playoffs. Love to see a bit of cross-division rivalry, and if I'm not wrong, Dev, the Knights really are the last hope here, at least in the upper bracket for the South Division. So a bit of weight on their shoulders. Habana off the board here first from the Knights. That's an expected ban. That's who they took off the board against both the Chiefs in OCN and the Giants more recently. In terms of Guts, tend to be a little bit more diversified with their bans, but they do repeat the same ban that they brought out against T1 in round number 7 of APAC North, where they took them down 7-2.
So overall, not super surprising between the operator bans so far. Habana, if you ban that out, it means you can impact trick the kitchen hatch. It's the main reason why you ban that. If you ban Maverick, it means that you can ban a trick the cash wall. So that's generally what happens here. You get rid of those and it kind of dictates the little mini games that we end up playing. You know what, guys? I think it's so funny that, like, once upon a time, we didn't have most of these mini games. And now, with the ban phase, teams do that to choose which mini games we're going to be playing on a map like Clubhouse.
I remember the good old days when it was just Thatcher and Thermite.
Really, thanks for making me sound like a boomer. Thanks.
I feel like a boomer, and I'm the youngest of all the casters. Been playing this game for a long time, but so have a couple of these players as well, and we're keen to see what they can bring to the table in this matchup. I guess just quickly touching on the remaining bans, we did see Valk, again, another common ban for Guts and Knights, as I mentioned, Mira taken down. Very common as well, so nothing too surprising to start things off. I am excited to see, though, if Thatcher's been brought to the board, and there we go, 6th pick there by Papillon, and Ace and Thermite, of course, will link up with him to get work done on basement. So the hatches of critical importance.
Yeah, that's the thing with no Hibana. With Hibana, you can open so many hatches, right? You've got 18 pellets, it only takes 4 to open a hatch, so really, you know, the sky's the limit with how many
hatches is that, Dev? Quick division,
mate,
go.
No, not going to do it. Not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Do not do maths on live broadcast. I learned the lesson many times. But, of course, in this case, Thermite, you know, you could get 2 hatches, and Ace, you can only get 1.5 hatches. So it does really restrict, you know, what's available here for Guts. And, of course, that does mean impact tricking becomes more potent here. Now, Josh is the player with impacts on the Knights, and I do expect we'll likely see that minigame kind of come to fruition around the kitchen hatch. With likely Light trying to use the Ace Salmers, because with Thermite, you know, you get in there with the Thermite charge, you're much more vulnerable to getting C forward, so typically the Ace tries to do it. And with only having 3 of those Salmers and requiring 2 to breach the hatch, it means you're probably going to see Guts really lean into that vertical play from Lily. And that's why I feel like, guys, that Lily is honestly kind of, you know, in a way, one of the most important operators that Guts have brought in the sledge. So if Knights can take him out early, that might actually give him a significant advantage when it comes to defending that kitchen hatch.
Lily could well play a critical role in this round, but also equally critical, if not more, is the Knights roam quite aggressive here. Not facilitated by a castle, so you could argue there are some weaknesses there for Guts to exploit, particularly if they want to go for a take over towards the strip side of the map and cut off these rotations. But Dino absolutely deletes Yura, holding that secret rotate, and can now find refuge back towards the site.
Untraded, an early pick from Knights. Is that, I see 4 players. Where's that magical 5th player? In dirt, there you go. So all 5 players from Knights on site. Honestly, this couldn't really be better for them at this point. It's up to Guts now to finish clearing the map and start turning their attention to the hard breach. But of course, with Knights readying that impact trick, it's going to be quite difficult. There's a lot to be done, and there's a nice trade. That's the smoke down.
Now, I couldn't quite tell if that wall was soft or not. Either way, though, pressure applied and pick found there by Guts. As Light's playing aggressive off this drone, he can just post up. He doesn't necessarily need to enter and find any picks at this stage. The AK-12 at this range will be powerful, but his Summers won't have much of an impact from this position.
That's the thing, you'd think he would come and breach the kitchen hatch, and in fact a kitchen attack would be so powerful right now with this player in dirt, but both of the hard breaches are actually in dirt at the moment. Looks like they're trying to make a play, and that's the first one punished. JJ unable to refrag, taken down, and now Guts are absolutely reeling. Lily all the way into Arsenal's the last player left for the Japanese, taken down by Dino, and Knights a very dominant opening round here on Clubhouse.
The Knights doing a good job playing into the bans, and Guts finding it difficult to get a proper push in towards the site. The Knights holding them back, finding picks, and ultimately do win out the round. Guts locking in their attacking lineup very, very quickly. Probably not expecting to see too much deviation from the operators we did see in the first round, as almost every site you can just play the same 5 and they will be effective.
Yeah, in fact, I think it was Canadian on the 6on6 podcast recently said that the nature of, especially Clubhouse these days, in his view, is that you really just need to bring the same 5 operators every round. Like, you need to tick all those boxes, especially when Maverick is banned. Maverick kind of does the job of one of your hard breaches plus a Thatcher. And so when he's banned, you need to bring those hard breaches plus a Thatcher. Clubhouse, you always need 2 hard breaches, really. I mean, for most conventional strategies, you need that Thatcher to clear the wall denial, and then everything else just ends up being soft breach and explosives to clear utility and breach walls. So you don't have a lot of flexibility in that lineup there. We see very much the same time and time again from Guts. But in particular here, on the bedroom site, it's going to come down to how much they can take this map control. So not only have they got to breach that jacuzzi wall, more typically, and also the cache side, but taking control of cache, con, etc. can really take a lot of time.
Bedroom does open up the opportunity for a little bit more diversification on the side of the defensive operators, and Hayward, got to point him out, playing the Thrust. Hell yeah. Very excited to see those Pog mats in action, and it's another obstacle that needs to be overcome by the attack, particularly if they want to vault in late round. 2 placed on the site entries over towards Jim and Bedroom, and the third cheekily inside a shower. I just think Hayward doesn't really have much time to place the third anywhere more meaningful, so he'll just put that one there. Probably won't have much of an impact, but hey, you never know. I feel like some of the best Frost mats are the ones that you just never expect.
That's true. Like, the no-brain Frost mats are always the best. But honestly, like, what are the chances an attacker goes there in the shower? Well, we'll find out. Stick around for the next 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Look at Juicy here. He's playing the shotgun, I presume. We actually saw him hit a gnarly as one-tap. I believe it was in the OCN final, actually, with this pistol, all the way from Logi office onto the balcony outside construction window. So I would certainly look out for him, even if it's only the pistol in his hand.
Guts doing good work opening up both the jacuzzi wall and the CC wall early. No one posted up over towards jacuzzi, but that is perceived pressure that the Knights need to be mindful of and can't cross that route too freely. Josh now going to be under the pump. Lily sends out a frag grenade and clears the shield, inflicts a bit of damage there onto Dino in the meantime, but Josh retaliates, drops Lily, and we could well see some aggression here from Dino, who drops Light. It's a 3 versus 5, and Guts can't even get in towards the building.
Such a nice job from Gus to clear that utility, but you've got to follow it up. Nice stand firm. And while we do see Josh eventually taken down on the stairs, Dino is the next obstacle in the Japanese team's way. Dino already had a fantastic 3K in round 1. Flashed out. This is their opportunity, but they don't push on the back of that flashbang.
Dino could see that Yura too strong, swings and finds the pick. So not a bad recovery here from Guts. They bring it back to a 3 versus 3. They still have a Thatcher and a hard breach on the board if required late. Actually, that said, the exothermics have already been burnt. Not sure if Knights have reinforced Logi. Actually, they haven't. So maybe Guts can find a passage to do there. Actually, again, I am just conflicting myself time and time again, but Yura actually doesn't have any concussion impacts left. So that's not going to be an easy entry for Guts. They'll literally have to shoot that wall open if they want to push through there, which is not ideal. And they're likely going to be forced into those window vaults.
Yeah, 23 seconds and Guts really, really lacking in control and utility remaining. Information, though, is at a price. Crazy Papillon sends his drone in as the Frost Mass dismantled. Guts really have to get a move on. The jump in through the window. Knights play it patient. Yura and JJ to cover. Here's Hayward, finds one, looking for a second. He can deny the plan, and that's it. All Knights have is the diffuser, but Guts have nothing to show for it, and that's Knights. A second defense.
Good work there in the late round there for the Knights. And I can't help but feel that Guts struggling at the very start of the round did snowball. The lack of utility late really narrowed their options. They were forced to filter in towards the site, and the Knights were just ready and waiting, sitting comfortably and they could just wait it out off the back of a couple of really nice picks there. Strong start for the Knights, especially considering that, let's keep in mind, their last game was not the most comfortable, not as comfortable as we probably would have expected.
Yeah, Knights were pushed pretty hard by our good friends on Mercenaries from South Asia. Of course, I think that for everyone that's not from South Asia, the expectation coming into today is that the two South Asian games would be dominant victories against the South Asian teams. And I think it's pretty safe to say that most people had expected Knights and Cyclops, two of arguably the strongest teams in the whole bracket, to win those games comfortably. That was not the case with Kira, who took down Cyclops. Knights were, for a minute we were worried. I think they were down 2-4 at one point in the half against Mercenaries, but oh no, it was 3-1 they were down, and then they ended up coming back incredibly strongly after that. But we have seen Knights have some weaknesses in the past. Of course, they might have been the Oceanic champion at the start of this year, and the first place seeded through the OCN season, and of course the number 1 or number 2 team rather in APAC South. But they did lose the OCN championship game, grand final, to Chiefs, and they haven't looked flawless. There have been cracks in the armor, so we're still looking to them to prove that they can take it and potentially even be that challenger for that third place.
Solid work there from Dino to drop at least one drone early in towards the action phase. Credit to Guts. In the last 2 rounds, at least, I've noted that they've kept all their drones up in the prep phase, and provided they're getting those in at least some sort of useful positions, then that is favourable. Yura, with that pre-placed outside, can quickly drone in towards the objective. Josh and Juicy spotted out as they start to think about how they're going to open the wall. 2 batteries placed on the wall.
Nice.
Thatcher EMP a little bit late, and Josh capitalizes to drop a Lily.
What? Sorry, how did JJ not breach that wall? The EMP came through, and he started placing on it. He thought that the bandit trick was happening, so he didn't. The ironic part of that is that Josh was distracted trying to take that fight. He essentially stopped juggling that wall. But now he's found the pick, and the wall isn't even open yet.
It's a headache for Guts. Halfway through the round, they still are struggling to open the wall. Was it tricked there by Josh? A little bit tricky to see through the smoke, but the Salma does go off, and JJ as well can open that wall even further. So there'll be a nice breach here for Guts to play off, and Crazy's just going to rush straight in.
What can he do with it? Finds the first pick. Sage to refrag with the C4, still advantaged Knights, but Lights is on the verge of something here, pushes into Cash and loses the fight. And the diffuser along with it. Crazy Papillon doing his darndest. Josh playing patiently, still has a C4. No diffuser for Guts Gaming. That's a swing from Josh. Dino finds one, all on Yura, all on his lonesome. 50 seconds, but not much to do with it.
It was a valiant rush there from Guts. They had a lot of issues opening up that breach, and I feel like maybe a bit of frustration led them into just wanting to rush it in the end, not wanting to deal with the various other obstacles established here by the Knights. And in the 1 versus 4, surely Yura cannot pull this off. Every single gun from the Knights trained towards this breach. They have the diffuser alongside as well, and Yura's really just going to take this, I guess, as a attack timeout for the team, maybe find a pick or 2, but there we go. Josh closes it out, and the Knights take 3 straight.
Honestly, an amazing round there from Josh. And it partly capitalized upon some things that could have gone a little bit better from the Guts side, but I'm just pretty astounded the fact that these Knights rounds have just seemingly become more and more dominant as the game progresses. There was a little bit of tug on the desk for Guts. I think a lot of people are looking to them. Not only are they a well-esteemed team, but also the only remaining hope for Japan of taking 3rd place in APAC, which is of course the highest that any of these teams in the playoffs can manage. But Knights just look so good. I mean, I just can't believe that Josh found the pick onto the sledge on the CCTV window, and then despite Josh being distracted with that gunfight, like JJ just did not thermite the wall. Like the EMP had gone out, JJ was seemingly baiting the bandit trick. Like he put the thermite charge down but cancelled the animation halfway. If he just stuck that and detonated it, there is no way that Josh would have juggled that. And, I mean, that would have looked like a lot better round for Guts. They might have lost a player, but at least they would have gotten the breach open for it. But as a result, I know Knights just had a very convincing round.
Well, with the full rotation done and bar never seen played by the defense, the Knights will go back down below.
5 seconds left.
I like the fact that they're sticking onto the vigil pick, and with the reinforcements placed above, it would suggest that the Knights again, without the castle, will attempt to roam. We did see Guts play into it a little bit on the last occasion, and they did ultimately drop a couple of picks which proved costly later into the round, and judging by their spawns, it looks like they'll repeat a similar attack pattern and look to clear these players that are roaming above.
And both these teams are warmed up. We watched Guts' game not long ago. That looked pretty hot. We saw a great 1v3 clutch from Light as well. But for Knights, it's actually a player that's been a bit hot and cold this season is Dino. And we talked about him so much, right, during the APAC South and OCN seasons. And he was amazing. He's currently 6-1, by the way, which is just honestly quite ridiculous this early in the game. But he really did flop in the OCN Grand Final match that they ended up losing. So it's nice to see him a little bit return to form.
Jacuzzi wall will be the entry point here for Guts as they look to clear top down. Josh poses a serious threat,
No
and he
way!
hits the flick. Crazy Papillon, sit down. Lily does eventually trade it back, but the damage onto the Thatcher already has been done. I guess the saving grace here for Guts is that no Kaid was brought onto the table, and those hatches should still be open for business.
It's Hayward who played the Kaid last time, but this time he's on the Legion and he's looking to get a bit aggressive here. Yura finds the pick onto Dino, and another as well. As this rampage down the blue stairs seems to work out. Now JJ was traded in that exchange. That means there's a lot less hard breach available, just the 3 Selmas. That's a maximum of 1 hatch, Guz. And it looks like Light wants to get a breach onto Dirt. This is honestly just going to be a very difficult push here for Guts. The only thing on their side is the fact that it's a 3v2. They have the advantage. They don't necessarily have a lot of utility. They have the man advantage.
You would assume that the game plan here for Guts is to stack together and try and trade out this round. Maybe pop open 1 hatch as an additional entry point, and then use the second Selma for a line of sight, whether that be to enter Dirt or on the objective itself. Hayward. It's a risky play to try and take above. It leaves Juicy in the 2 versus 1. He has control of bottom main. Oh, it was close there for Guts, but they close it out, and Light claims the final pick in order to get the round.
My God, so critical to land that shot as well by Light. An incredibly close round. Guts did not start well for them. They lost Crazy Papillon for nothing, but then Yura really opened up that round when he found that 2K at the top of blue stairs. Knights were always keeping that pressure right on back. And I do like in those dire moments there, guys, like Hayward flanked up the main stairs, and while he did find a pick and got traded, that's not great. You know, ideally he wouldn't have gotten traded there. But on the back of that, Juicy also made a very similar play up the main stairs and looked to get aggressive there. Couple ways he could have played that. I respect the aggression from him, but unfortunately for Knights, it didn't pan out. Fortunately for Guts, they've got their first round on the board here, and finally a look in to their attack half.
Looking across to the statistics for the regular season of APAC North, Guts probably won't be too upset with a 2-4 half here. Of course, in a position to achieve that, or even a 3-3 could be on the cards.
Pretty
it was
impressive,
a
honestly. If they were to make the run back from 0-3 to 3-3, I'd be pretty impressed.
Yeah, well, it was a 68% defense win rate in North, so Guts probably entering this match expecting it to lean a little bit more heavily in that direction. In terms of South, let's have a look. Not quite as defender-sided, so 55%. I guess maybe you could make the argument that the Knights will be pretty happy as well. So I don't think either team at the moment really panicking too much. The last 2 rounds of the half, they will be critical in positioning themselves nicely for that ever-elusive second half.
Just to stay on the nerdy stats train for a second, the one thing I will say for Guts is statistically in APAC North, in terms of the bomb sites that they're good at attacking, it tends to be Church is actually the only positive round-by-round win rate, 8 rounds won to 6 rounds lost, whereas both Jim and Cash, they have negative win rates for their attack. So I don't think that you would necessarily expect them to get another round here in this half.
Attackers dropped the diffuser. Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Once again, Guts will be looking to mount their attack from the CCTV side. Remember last time this happened, the Knights got ultra aggressive, found the first 2 picks, and Guts had to try and bring the round back. Ultimately, they were unable to do so. So probably expecting them to be a little bit more vigilant on their drones here, do their due diligence, and be mindful that the Knights are not afraid to get aggressive, swing the breach, and find that opening pick.
Sage might even be on for a flank here. It's Dino teasing the notion. Top red, Josh is pinched. They have any idea that he's gone down the stairs. They don't follow Yura in garage as Josh actually backs out completely. And a C4 from Dino finds the opening onto JJ Light, looking for that refrag, and he gets it.
Solid pick there from Dino. Despite being traded out, that is one hard breacher taken down, and Light needs to be ultra careful with the usage of his utility. Good droning here from Guts. They'll be able to call that both Cash and Con is clear. That means that Light, you would assume, would save his utility and just take it with gunpower alone. And now they'll need to contest over towards Logi. Yura does find Hayward. That's the Frost taken down, and now that pressure begins to mount even more so on Juicy in this position.
You can see Juicy doesn't know whether Jacuzzi balcony is clear or not. Good vigilance from Guts, clearing those frost mats, and Juicy really put under the pump here. All he's got is the pistol for long-range fights. Time still on Guts' side, all things considered. 30 seconds left, 4v3. If they trade out from here on in, they'll be in a strong position. 25 seconds, Juicy in Logi. He's a dangerous player in a dangerous position. Josh finds one from below. That's a fantastic position. Juicy as well helps out, and suddenly it's a 2 versus 1 for the Knights. Yura has to step up massively against the FO12. He is no match. And the Knights take another defense round.
What an angle there from Josh down below. Perfect line of sight towards the vault in. Very difficult to counter on the side of the attack. Guts unable to adapt in time, fall to that trap. And the Knights continue to extend that lead. Disappointing there for Guts, but very well played by Josh.
Yeah, pretty big moment here for Knights. 5-1, honestly, I think would be pretty amazing. 4-2 wouldn't be great. It's so hard to say. I think that the win rates here would say that a 4-2 is kind of par for the course. So in that way, you know, Knights should be satisfied. But of course, Knights will never be satisfied with anything except overachieving. And I think a 5-1 is definitely possible here, guys. Guts have looked pretty good sometimes, but they really do struggle shutting down this aggression from the Knights. And the one round that we did see Guts win on the attack was on the back of quite a significant 2K from Yura. And even that came down to a 1v1, right? So it's pretty damning looking at Guts and say the only round they've won was a 1v1. And you know, I definitely am starting to feel the energy from the Knights at the moment as they go back to cache CCTV. And the pivotal thing for me on this round is, will Guts actually breach that main CCTV wall successfully? How long will it take, and will they lose a player in doing so? Because last time they really struggled with Josh.
Well, the expectation has been set. Knights looking for the 5-1 half, trying to position themselves nicely for the map win, and in doing so, will take on Fnatic next in the upper bracket best of 3. Both of those teams in that potential matchup will be vying for 3rd place in APAC alongside a very hefty amount of 6 invitational points and a bit of money as well, which is always nice. This has been a fun mini game though, Dev. Josh versus JJ, the Bandit versus the Thermite, and it hasn't been too easy for Guts.
Let's see what the counter is. Okay, Josh just decides to push on out. I respect that. The breach is opened. Both a line of sight on the right panel and a full breach on the left panel. And Josh gets away with his life, and as well as a single battery he could later use if he wants it. I like that single battery actually on the garage rafters wall. Means that Ace won't be able to get a line of sight onto the rafters player from outside, so that's actually super underrated. You don't see that battery used very often, but Dino's the first victim. He had a strong start. I praised him for it, but Light has just been steadily trickling up the kills and consistent over the last few rounds. Guts in a strong position.
Dino has been playing on that side of the map in most of these defenses, and Guts doing a great job reading into that, are able to finally shut him down, get the opening kill, which they've really struggled with, Dev. In fact, it's the first opening kill that Guts have gotten in this entire first half.
Wow.
Keen to see if they can convert that, of course, to a round win. Their drone economy dwindling a little bit here, but at least they have control of Con, and Light, with 2 summers left, should be able to open the wall.
What about that vertical pressure as well from Knights? We saw a C4 help them out previously. Josh is using his last remaining battery to try and trick up this wall. And it looks like Guts are distracted at the moment. They do find Juicy, though Light has been injured. A 3v5 now.
All C4.
Oh, and it just secures that kill. Certainly not as much as perhaps Sage would have hoped, but it's still something. Josh, aggressive, finds one traded. Bites off more than he can chew. 2v3 now for Knights.
Josh, why are you vaulting that now? Leaves his teammates in the 2 versus 3. That could be a costly mistake here for the Knights, as the cross is being held. Lily, with the diffuser in hand, will be looking to try and send it deep in towards Cash.
Oh! Almost the pivotal kill there. Lily has to vault through. Sage, no C4 in hand. Just the guns that Knights will rely on. Haywood lands that shot. 2v2 now. Plan has to go down. As time ticks away, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, Lily can't find the frag. He's gonna have to force this plant. Haywood says that's not happening. A dominant 5-1/2 is secured for the Knights.
Bit of an awkward late round there from Guts, unable to get that plant down in towards Cash, and unfortunately Haywood on the rafters position perfectly placed to deny that attempt. It's a 5-1/2 for the team from Down Under, making a statement here in the playoffs. But like every matchup, it's not over till it's over, and they'll need to close it out and take 1 round at a time.
Yeah, it's potentially only 2 rounds until Japan is actually locked out of 3rd place for the APAC Playoffs. Honestly, it's kind of astounding to think that Japan, arguably for a long time, was the strongest region in Rainbow Six. Consistently, even last year, had the most teams from APAC North in that middle upper pack of any of the other nations playing in that league. Unfortunately, Norengo, no longer exists. We don't have that as the championing team for Japan. CAG already knocked to the lower bracket by Kira of all teams. Guts the last hope for Japan, as of course it's Korea and Thailand, which will be playing in the stage champions game on Sunday. Honestly, this is quite a turning point, I think, within Asia Pacific Rainbow Six. Japan used to be this powerhouse, and all those Japanese fans will now be rooting for Guts to pull off the reverse sweep against the Knights.
The Guts for a long time have been looking to make a big statement in a playoffs series, often trailing behind other Japanese teams like Cyclops. And now it'd be a bigger statement than ever if they were to bring this one back. They need to get at least 4 rounds to equalize. And surely the confidence is running high through the veins of the Knights. We won't be taking too many crazy risks here, trying to close this one out. Crazy Papillon on the Kaid. I can only assume he's looking to juggle that, keeping in mind that Thatcher's on the board and Maverick is not. Knights will need to clear that as they continue to commit to the roam clear.
Slow and steady. It's always nice to punish that aggression, but Guts not actually playing into aggression whatsoever, so this map control, Knights takes their time. But of course they won't find anything for it other than the map itself. They'll have to turn their attention to that mid-round, the pre-execute. That's really what's going to be pivotal here for the Knights. Can they breach successfully I feel like the Kaid juggle here is not actually as impactful as it would be if Hibana was on the cards. Honestly, yeah, the Kaid juggle is going to be unimpactful because it should be able to get that thermite charge to detonate in time. There you go. Just barely, but still, Guts finally lead off kill.
Great work there from the Knights in the pre-execute, and I would assume that their attention will now go towards the kitchen hatch as they try and pressure from multiple locations.
Ooh, actually, Dino's gone down, which means that single thermite charge is the only hard breach left.
Could be challenging. No impacts though from Guts, so they would need to use a C4 if they wanted to clear that utility. Either way, though, they may even, the Knights,
Doing church.
in fact, go for the triple wall. Juicy gets aggressive, though, just rushes straight in towards the site, does find a pick with the 5.56, and hits a second sharp shot, Light and JJ to try and clutch up.
It's all on Light now as he is mince meat for the Knights. What a play that was from the Aussies. We thought they were going to go for the triple wall, but no, they used that drone they had in sight. They knew that it was clear. And honestly, fantastic gunplay from Juicer to push on in, and the Knights just collapsed. Guts are reeling. They're going to have to make a full reverse sweep as Knights have 5 match points ahead of them.
Wow. Just going to take that play in for a second. I thought when Juicy dropped the hatch, it'd be, the usual, open up the wall, drone out a little bit more, go for the plant, but no, he just runs straight in. Of course, the 5.56, such an incredibly strong gun, and he hit 2 very, very precise shots. And the Knights, off the back of that, able to claim the round. They claim match point. And now
Honestly,
they're 1 round away from taking down Fnatic, or taking on Fnatic.
Yeah, honestly, I think Juicy is so underrated.
Yeah.
I think he's such a good player, especially because he's playing, the hard breach, he's playing the smoke. Earlier he was playing the Ella shotgun. We were trying to take fights with the pistol. I think he's just been such a strong player, very impact player for this roster. And we may get to speak to him actually if Knights can convert this, which you'd think that by all means they should. Gus just have such a mountain to climb.
5 seconds to go.
Back upstairs for Guts. Not wanting to reattempt down below, staring down the barrel of losing Clubhouse. It wasn't bad for Guts in the early round, at least last time. Lily did get that opener onto Dino, one of the hard breaches, but didn't prove to be quite enough. In terms of the minigames on the main wall, we're not really going to see a whole lot. We saw the Knights actively tricking the wall with the Bandit, but Guts not even bringing him to the table, and that allows the attack to open the wall basically for free off the back of the EMP, taking down that mute gem, or at least disabling it.
Yeah, very much a vertical hold here for Guts. They're going to leave that wall to be breached, but instead all these little players running around downstairs and lounge to make sure that they will have the vertical potential to C4 plant now in the late round. We know that Knights are not afraid of just rushing into sight as well if they see a weakness. So I'm always a bit cautious that might happen.
No rush in this case, at least not at the moment for the Knights. Methodical in their garage clear, and now they'll be met by JJ. This is a position we've seen played a little bit in APAC, but at least anecdotally, I can't remember that too many successful holds here, so JJ with the odds against him. Very much playing a risk-reward game. He does have a couple of ADS devices to cover his position in his attempt to aid Lily on the rafters, but the Knights have probably seen this before and are ready to clear it.
Mid round for Knights. How are they going to clear the rafters player? That's Lily. Keen with the 416. That's the opening pick. That's Juicy gone down. We'd already spoken about him. Ooh, I didn't see the step set up there from JJ. Quite nice, but the man count equalized. Is this the flood? It is! From Knights, they just push into the bomb site. The trades come through JJ. It's all on Yura! Off in Africa on the other side of the map, and he has to retake against 3, staring down match points. And this could be it for the Knights. They punch their way through GG. And a ticket all the way into that upper bracket final.
The trademark wink in the chat there from Dino. And look, I don't think the Knights can complain too much. 7-1. Doesn't get much more dominant than that, particularly in a playoffs bracket, mind you. Both them and Fnatic in great stead for that upper bracket final. And wow, that one's cooking up to be a bit of a banger, if I say so myself.
Should certainly be a massive redemption. We know we said that a lot today, but for the Knights, knocked off their purge in OCN, but here the Oceanic team that has gone the furthest